Welcome back. Welcome back to the Mac Million. Maximize your prime time, your presence. You know what I'm saying? You give presence. Outflow determines inflow. So from that, you know that the throne just needs to be kept warm. And we're going to continue off some of our reading. Um, Hope y'all doing well. Sending out good vibes. We can go deep. You know what I'm saying? We can go deep. Um, we don't need 1,000 chiefs. You know what I'm saying? But maybe two is good, right? That couplehood, right? that conscious crew, that conscious core. You know what I'm saying? That conscious pair of dice, right? Um, yeah, I'm here to go back to a book that I was reading before, um, Millionaire Success Habits, right there. The Gateway to Wealth and Prosperity, Dean Graziosi, New York Times bestselling author. So I think we're just going to jump right on into it. Here we go. Okay. Profiles in Courage, Two Heroes. Carol Stinson let the villain run her life, in no small part because she had grown up extremely poor in Philadelphia. Then she eventually moved to a not-so-pleasant area in New Jersey. She summarized her philosophy this way: the poor stay poor, the rich get richer. They have advantages no one else does. But it wasn't just her upbringing that allowed the villain to dominate her thoughts and her life. As an adult, she encountered one hardship after the next. Her husband lost his job during one of the toughest economic periods in American history, instilling even more negativity and supporting the villain's cause. She was raising 5 children of her own plus 2 grandchildren. The youngest was a special needs child. Some days all they could afford to eat was peanut butter, and their electricity was turned off because of a non-payment of bills. She told me she would wake up and immediately feel fear and panic because in New Jersey, if your electric is shut off, CPS, Child Protective Services, could take your children. So you probably understand why Carol told me the following. When you're from the wrong side of the tracks, this is what you believe is the lot in your life you were dealt. You're supposed to live in poverty. You're supposed to live in scarcity. You have envy and disdain for those with money because you feel somehow if you're making money, you must be robbing it from us. And of course, it was really easy to assign blame. It's the economy, the president, rich people, smart people, and 100 other scapegoats that encourage self-doubt and feelings of hopelessness. This happens when you resort to thinking. This is what we have. We create change when we desire to have more, and this desire is powerful and deep. But we can also create change when we hit rock bottom. Let's hope the second option is never the reason you have to make a shift, and you decide you want more. Carol, for instance, was running out of time, money, and excuses. With her residence in foreclosure, no money, and pantry empty, she did something completely out of the ordinary for her. She bought one of my books with her last few dollars. She went against her family, her husband, and even her own inner voice to do so. And yes, I gave her strategies to make money. I gave her business ideas, but Carol told me that as she read, she kept saying to herself, this can't be true. This isn't what I've believed for so long. But it started to make sense to her, and she realized that the negative stories she was telling herself were lies. Based on reading about my personal journey, doing the exercises, and being inspired by the examples, she started changing her own thoughts, her success habits, and her story. Carol knew the villain had been in charge of her entire adult life and nothing good had come of it. She was brave enough to awaken her inner hero and allow that to be her new guiding force. She realized that she didn't need a college degree, that she didn't have to come from the right side of the tracks. She didn't need money to go into business. She also realized how blessed she was to be raising 7 children, have a great husband, and the opportunities in front of her. She saw that if she changed her habits and told herself new, She told herself new stories and let the hero be in charge. Everything could change, and boy, it did it. With these realizations, Carol no longer blamed the economy or fate or anything else for her struggles. Instead, she took control, and when she did so, everyone around her thought she was crazy. She insisted she could be wealthy. She was sure she could do more. She thought she could take on the world. Well, guess what? When she started thinking that way, she drove the inner hero to be stronger and stronger. Carol not only started her own company, she generated hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she got her family out of foreclosure. She bought a new house, a new car. She took kids school shopping in malls where they had never shopped before, and on vacations that they'd only dreamt about. She even changed the destiny of her family by putting her children through college. Today, Carol Stinson looks 20 years younger than she did when I first met her. She is a stronger, amazing, vibrant, highly respected businesswoman who's changed the destiny of her family forever. And not just financially. She's teaching them how to be different people by growing up with different habits and letting the hero be in control of their lives, tapping into their full potential, and not leaving it up to chance, not going to their deathbed and saying, wow, there could have been more. No, there won't be any. Could have been more. Conversations for Carol. I have no doubt that Spitfire, that amazing woman, will go to her deathbed knowing that she was all she could be, and then some. No, there won't be any could have been more conversations for Carol. I have no doubt that Spitfire, that amazing woman, will go to her deathbed knowing she was all she could be, and then some. Think about the simple definition starting this chapter. Think about Carol's inner hero and its heroic qualities: confidence, courage, taking responsibility. And another success habit that Carol exemplified was that she simply stopped focusing on what was wrong and started the routine of focusing on solutions. And that's where the villain and hero are so different. When people invest energy in blame and figuring out why someone got a terrible disease and obsessing about whose fault it is that they didn't get the promotion or the raise, or why the partner stole their money, or why their first business didn't work, they allow the villain to be in charge. As big or small as the circumstance is, when you can accept that simply happened and start looking forward to how you can create the best outcome possible, this is when everything changes. This is when you allow your hero to shine. Let me share another example so this truth will really sink in. You may have heard of J.J. Virgin, the creator of the Virgin Diet and multiple New York Times bestsellers, among many other great accomplishments. But what you might not know is that that many years ago, a car hit her son, Grant, while he was walking home, and the driver fled the scene. Oh, sounds familiar. Leaving him for dead. In fact, Grant was still alive, but barely. He had 13 broken bones, and that wasn't the worst of it, because of serious head trauma and likelihood of irreversible brain damage. The doctors didn't think he would survive, but added that if he lived, he would probably not be able to walk, talk, or communicate coherently. As of this writing, PBS is currently doing a documentary on JJ and Grant, and the journey they went through together after this tragic event. They asked to interview me for the documentary, and of course I said yes. I was unsure of what they wanted from me, but was honored and delighted at the chance to support JJ and Grant, or add value where I could. One of the questions they posted was, what did I think was the best way to get through a traumatic experience such as the one that had befallen JJ and her son? What instantly came to mind and excited my mouth before I could even filter it was, focus on the best outcome and try not to waste energy on why it happened or who is to blame. Let me read this again here. What instantly came to mind and excited my mouth before I could even filter it was, quote, focus on the best outcome and try not to waste energy on what happened, on why it happened, and who is to blame. End quote. Sounds a little interesting, the way it's phrased, but I think you get the point. Now, that may seem naive, given the circumstances and tragedy in this case, but is it? I went on to explain my thoughts. But as I did, I realized that JJ acted in a way that focused on the best outcome. She, of course, went through the emotions we all would as a parent getting that call. But as quickly as she could, she got obsessed with Grant not only surviving, but having the chances to live a normal life. She refused to accept what the doctors told her and Grant. When the doctors were not in alignment with her ideal outcome, she loaded Grant into a helicopter, and against just about everyone's advice, she took him to another hospital more aligned with the outcome and better able to deal with Grant's situation. She did what she had to do, made cold calls, knocked on doors, was forceful when necessary, and got the possible people to help Grant. JJ found a vision focused on solutions, and let the hero take over, and nothing got in her way. When I was talking to the documentary interviewer about all of this, she stopped me when I was almost done and said, quote, "So the way you are answering, I'm guessing that you don't know that JJ didn't seek legal action against the hit-and-run driver. In fact, she never even spoke about her. I had no idea, but I wasn't shocked. I would have been so easy to place blame and expend energy on revenge. Expend. Others might have tried to get the driver persecuted in the criminal courts, and if that didn't work, sue her for everything she had. JJ could have hated her, and rightfully so, given what happened to her little boy. Instead, she realized that revenge could do Grant no good, and that we only have a certain amount of energy to put forth in the world. She knew what direction her energy needed to go, and focused on the solution with laser intensity. She let the inner hero be in control rather than the villain. Your inner hero can't stop things from going wrong. It can't prevent tragedies. But if you let it emerge, it can turn even the worst possible trauma you've gone through into a building block for a better life. It can help you generate energy from whatever challenge you face and use it to achieve the life you deserve. This isn't about being glad if something goes wrong so you can learn from it. We don't want bad things in our lives, but the fact is they happen. So if they are going to happen, who do you want in charge? I think you are getting it. The hero focuses on solutions. And I am happy to tell you that Grant didn't just live, but has thrived. Because of his fighting spirit and his mom's focus on best possible outcome, Grant is working every day towards a bigger, better life for himself. JJ's new book, The Miracle Mindset, will be out at about the same time as this one. And it's about the journey she and Grant have been on and lessons we all can learn from in their experience. So now that you have a better idea of what the inner hero looks like, we need to examine how you can develop the confidence to put that hero in control. All right, so my thoughts. Wonderful story. On my walk today, I was going over how, some of these really, what can I say, apparent impasses, suffering, right? Dean Graziosi, he expresses here that, there are inevitably bad things happen. And I heard this monk who talks about the Buddha heart and demon hand being real sharp and not allowing naivety to cloud your mind in approaching life. And I think that it's tough. The first noble truth is that life is suffering. Christ was on the cross. But I think that, these are past testimonies, and, for me, I was recently listening to some guidance about expecting the best. And I rephrased it to a young friend of mine about how, my protege actually, what I'm saying, about how, it's not wrong to prepare for the worst, something me and my brother used to say as we went out to work, in our early years, but hope for the best, be open to the best, right? And so there is a balance to strike. But Anyway, it's one of those quandaries that I feel like, if we look to the end, right? We look at the best case scenario at the end, right? Everything is done. We've overcome all the challenges, and we're kind of, enthused. We're kind of bubbling with joy, or kind of contentment, or just peace. Not maybe even again just complete calmness, just complete oneness. And we at this point, right? It's like, I mean, one might ask, where do we go? Um, and that's kind of the thing, right? We all have the same goal in a lot of ways, right? Um, whether consciously or unconsciously. Um, but yeah, awakening to your life's purpose, awakening to being present, or the the mysterious maker. Um, I think allows miracles to happen. Um, it's while it may not, it's a type of solution based mindset, but it's also a kind of accepting mindset. Um, so once again, I think transcending the narrative is a big part. However, we need we need communication to have memories, right? And I guess that brings me to my final point before I let you go, is that I think, in appreciating life, right, we need to relate, right? We need to, understand the language that the person we're interacting with. And if you take the perspective of let's say an omnipresent being, right? You're going to not be able to relate to some things if those things are not speaking your language or haven't gone through something relatable. And to me, I think that's a big part of my journey. You know what I mean? I feel like when we basically, like not looking at the suffering per se, we can look at it. Again, there's no question that it has been there, but basically understanding that we all have a unique place in this life, and in order for us to get, we do need to give as well. Sometimes that's just space, just the ability to listen, just a presence, no particular input, just allowing what is to come into fruition. So thanks so much for being here. Hit that like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and all the best. I'll catch you next time.